Well, in Europe, voters in 27 countries have elected more far-right members to the European Parliament. That body has limited power, but the vote is having a significant impact. The results have prompted French President Emmanuel Macron to call for a snap parliamentary election in his country after suffering a major defeat at the hands of Marine Le Pen's right-wing party. Our Ramy Inocencio explains.
I
give back to you the choice for the future of our parliament, said French President Emmanuel Macron, dissolving the Republic's legislature in a political earthquake. After France's far-right parties, for the first time, won more seats than the parties he supported in Europe-wide elections for the bloc's 720-seat parliament in Brussels. Macron's call for a snap election starting June 30th comes days after he and President Biden met to mark the 80th anniversary of D-Day. If Macron loses further support, that raises the chance Marine Le Pen's far-right National Party will gain, with talk of telegenic 28-year-old Jordan Bardella, president of France's National Rally Party, becoming premier, and Le Pen possibly becoming president in 2027. Voters in Germany, Italy, Austria, and the Netherlands also sent more far-right candidates, some in Germany campaign using Nazi overtones, to the European Parliament. They include candidates who campaigned against immigrants, against support for Ukraine, against climate change policies, and against dependence on trade with China.
Thank you so much.
But despite the rightward shift, Europe's center is still holding.
There remains a majority in the center for a strong Europe.
In Paris, Macron warned that the rise of nationalists and demagogues is a danger to France, Europe, and the world. His gamble that this sudden election will shock French voters and keep them from shifting even further to the right.
Okay, so Ramy is joining us now from London. I personally find this absolutely fascinating, Ramy. So 4 days of voting, more than 400 million people eligible to vote, but I don't know how many people actually come out and vote for the parliamentary elections, for the EU parliamentary elections. But what is the European Parliament going to be looking like over the next 5 years?
Right. Well, basically, European voters have pulled the Parliament, 720 seats, to the farthest right it's ever been, Henry. And we've got a graphic with the provisional results, so we're still waiting for more to come in. But let's go ahead and bring that up. We can take a look at that. I'll guide you through it. Generally, the parties on the left side of your screen, those are the reds and the green colors, those sides lost seats. These are parties that are more socially liberal, more globally minded, and that advocate for climate change policies. But as you go further to the right of the screen, then those lean center right. There's a big blue block right about in the middle, the center right there, and then more extreme right the further you go. These parties all gain seats. And it's this this spectrum that goes further on, this more extreme side that is causing people anxiety. This bloc includes France's National Rally Party, Germany's AFD party, and Italy's Brothers of Italy party, and those have neo-fascist roots. So generally speaking, we can see that the gain to the blue and all the way to the right side of the spectrum here gaining, and the left wing, the more liberals, losing, and that is what's causing anxiety.
So since I gather that the general feeling about the European Parliament is that it doesn't have a lot of teeth, a lot of strength. So I imagine only certain people are going to be kind of motivated to participate in this election. That being said, of the people who voted, what is driving this shift to the right?
Sure. Well, ultimately, European voters show that they're more concerned about what's directly and really negatively impacting them. Immigration, we know, is one of the biggest issues, and people finally got their vote to say, hey, we have had enough. And we can really draw a line from the rise of right-wing politics with the rise in the number of immigrants, both illegal as well as illegal, that have been coming into Europe over the years. Voters are also pushing back against climate change policies, and we saw that the Greens party on that graph, it was the green, in the green, they lost about 20 seats. People don't want to pay for new policies to cut carbon emissions or to pay for electric vehicles, which they're trying to phase out in Europe. And there is, of course, the cost of the war in Ukraine. Right-wing parties have been saying that they've given enough to support Ukraine over the past few years or so. Europe has committed most recent estimates put it at $155 billion, and we know that the war still is going on with Russia looking at the northeast of Ukraine and Kharkiv there. Many people are tired of paying. They want that money to come home, to stay home, and that's why we're seeing the rise here in nationalism across so many of these countries, especially the top three economies of Europe, Germany, France, and Italy, and the rise of the far right elsewhere.
Very interesting. Well, we will see what this means for Ukraine, immigration, climate change over the next several years. Ramy, thank you so much.